Hello and welcome to the May 1st meeting of TV Toastmasters. My name is Rick Barron and I'm the Vice President of Public Relations. Welcome everyone here in the studio and those of you out there in our TV or YouTube video audience. TV Toastmasters meets the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m., the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at the Anderson Center, 7850 5 Mile Road. If you think you might want what we have, come visit us. You can learn more at www.tvtoastmasters.com. I would like to now introduce our Toastmaster for today's meeting, Mr. Steve Ahrenholz.
Thank you, Rick. Well, welcome all of our Toastmasters in the studio here, as well as our guests looking in from home. We have a really nice meeting for you this evening. We have 3 prepared speeches. We're going to have table topics. We will have the evaluation portion of our meeting where we're going to hear what our speakers did really well as some things that they might want to consider for improving future speeches. At this point, what we're going to do is start our table topics portion of the meeting. This is where we practice our impromptu speaking. We are given a question by the table topics master. The person she calls upon has no idea who she's going to call upon, and they have until they get up here to the lectern to prepare their response. The table topics speeches run 2 minutes. You have to speak 1 minute, and you can't go over 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Help me welcome our Table Topics Master for this evening's program, Kormelink.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our 2 brand new Toastmasters. Welcome to you. As he said, Table Topics is when you can learn to think on your feet. If you ask me a question I'm not expecting, and you ask me my name, I might not even remember my name. But when you have the experience of not having your brain freeze when you're asked an unexpected question, then you're able to come up with some kind of an answer. Tonight, our Table Topics theme is going to be Meet the Misses, misunderstanding. I'm going to be asking you questions about misunderstandings you may have had with someone in your family. And I think I will ask Joni to please tell us if something of a misunderstanding with someone in a family or someone that you know, an uncle or whatever in their family, but just tell us about misunderstanding. Meet the misses.
Miss Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, misunderstanding. It's easy to happen in a family of all places because you never know when you get a situation where you have to ask a member of the family to do something. And you say to them, I need you to appear at my house at 9:30 in the morning so that we can go someplace and pick up something. Would you be able to come? Oh yes, Mom, I'll be right there, right there. So the day comes, 9:15, 9:20. Then the magic time, 9:30. You look out the window. You look at the clock again, you get the phone, you dial the number, no answer, and you say to yourself, I think they're on their way. I hope they're on their way. Then it comes to 9:45, then it gets to 9:50, then it gets to 10 o'clock. Mom, I'm here. Can we go now? I says to her, daughter, what time did I tell you to be here? We are too late. We are late going to where we have to be. Well, Mom, I says, what time did I ask you? Well, I can't remember, but I'm here now. Can we still do it? I says, I'm sorry, daughter, but, by the time we get in the car, by the time we get going to this place, it's going to be too late to do it. But thank you for coming over. That was nice to see you again.
Thank you, Joni. And it happens all the time. Another misunderstanding is a misunderstanding at work. And I would like Jess to tell us how she's handled a misunderstanding at work. Jess Bailey.
Well, a misunderstanding that I've had at work recently would probably be a fellow coworker and I are pranksters and like to joke around with each other, but he has lately been picking on me a little harder than I would probably like. So he is shorter than I am, and we have team competitions actually next Monday, and so I might have told him in public that he was short and my team was going to dominate his. It was a misunderstanding because it was not meant to be harsh, and while him and I had an understanding of that, everybody else who is onlooking did probably not understand it. So the misunderstanding was actually not between the two people who were having the harsh words, but between everybody else who was witnessing the harsh words. And that was my misunderstanding.
Thank you very much. And my last misunderstanding is, I know that someone is trying to get their book published, and I was wondering what kind of misunderstandings you've been having, if you've had any with trying to get your book published. B.J. Harris.
Thank you, Carol. Misunderstandings. In today's world of texting and email and conference calls, and you work with people all over the country, there is a high likelihood that you will be misunderstood in your communications. So I often follow up a phone conversation with an email that says this is to document what we just talked about. I often follow up an email with a verbal the next time I talk to them, trying to illuminate what we agreed to in an email. So communication, again, especially with today's technology, can often be misunderstood. So I'm not the only one who has been the subject of autocorrect on IM and really sent a message that could be misinterpreted. But it is important to speak with people verbally and work with them through technology, email and IM, in a very thorough manner to make sure that you are fully understood.
Good.
Thank you,
BJ.
Carol.
We always shake hands too.
Thank you.
Turn lectern to control. That is those are my table topics for this evening. I will return control to our Toastmaster, Steve Ahrenholz. And I am going to have to walk in front of you.
Thank you, Carol. That's all right. You can walk in front of me. They can still see me. I'm taller than you are, so they can see both of us. Now, if I walk in front of you, that will be a problem. Well, thank you, Madam Tabletopics Master.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
I would take pride in the word if in
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease
Freedom
like this,
requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Now we're going to go on to the portion of our meeting where we will hear the prepared speeches that have been put together for this evening's program. Our first speaker is one of our newer club members. He's not our newest club member, but he is pretty close. He's going to be giving us a speech from the Competent Communicators Manual. This will be the second manual speech out of that book. His title is Nirahara Samyama, Ram Karpur.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, friends. Nirahara Samyama, what does it mean? Nirahara means without food or water. And Samyama means the technique to find the potential of what a human body can do. So Nirahara Samyama means it's a process to figure out what a body can do without food and water. Would you like to know if it is possible to survive without food and water? How would be the life if you are free from eating food and water? Probably you don't have to do a job. You can wander around anywhere you want to be, do whatever you want to be. Most of the times we get stuck to the job, rationalizing, oh, you need to eat, right? You need to buy food, right? So we rationalize everything with food. So today I'm going to talk about an ancient technique which I have learned from a master, and this is not very widespread in the West, but I would really take this opportunity to share the information and wisdom in this technique, what he has revealed. So the theory of this technique is like this. In the East, they believe reincarnation, life, death, life, death, life, death. So what happens in this process is, at every life and every death, you collect knowledge and wisdom, and you move on. So this wisdom and knowledge is stored in something called as biomemory. And we are all made of 5 elements: water, earth, air, ether, and fire. And not only that, we also have consciousness, which is continuous, it doesn't break. The body just changes, but the consciousness comes in and goes out, comes in, goes out in a new body. So what happens, the theory says, you start with the stone, when the consciousness grows, you go to the trees. When the consciousness grows, you go to the animals. When your consciousness grows, you come to the human being. That's the ultimate state of being one can be in terms of consciousness. And then you can go backwards also if you choose to. It's a freedom of choice, freedom of will. So when you are in the West, we know about evolution, we have heard about evolution. They say that the physical body evolves over a period of million years. But in the East, they don't think about the body. They say the consciousness evolves over a period of time, at every birth, at every reincarnation. So this is the difference between the Eastern thought and the Western thought process. So what happens when we were in the tree body? We had the intelligence to convert the sunlight, the water, and air into food. That intelligence is still there, even today, with us, but it is hidden deep in our subconscious mind. And the whole technique of Nirahara Samyama is all about digging out that intelligence and bringing it to the surface. So the story goes like this. We were a tree at one point in time. We had the intelligence of creating food out of all these elements and then living. But then we went into the consciousness of an animal and we started eating a lot. And that pushed down that intelligence. So eating food became the intelligence from outside. And then that carried on forward when we became human beings, in human being consciousness, that still carried on. So, like when we buy a Windows computer, how many of you do you know that you can even install Linux in it? Very few people. Only probably, professional computer engineers know about how to do that. But you go by default, what you get. So normally when a human being is born today, he goes by default of eating food until he is configured of how to survive on those elements. So the knowledge about Nirahara Samyama is the technique of configuring your system so that you can enable the hidden power that you have to survive on light, water, air, and space. It's pretty mind-blowing. I have studied it and have been studying it for the last 6 months. I have met people who have been living like that for 6 months. My master is training them. So it's a slow and gradual process. You don't suddenly stop eating. Obviously you will die because you're not yet configured to work on that system. It's a step-by-step slow process where one evolves emotionally, mentally, intellectually, of dealing with stuff, and that intelligence just shows upon. You cannot think. It is an internal experience, and it's very difficult to share. I know this is a very challenging topic. Modern science is still growing. I won't say modern science has reached its limits, but there is a lot of scope for modern science to investigate in this area, and there are willing participants who are ready to experiment. You'll not find a lot of people. If you ask people, people will mostly say, I love to eat food, why would I drop it? They even get offended just with this idea of, what, not to eat food? Impossible, I can't even think about it. Why would anybody do that? But there are a lot of applications of this, and I know it's pretty outrageous idea, but let me give you one more outrageous idea. There was a philosopher in Persia, his name was Rumi. He said, you are not a drop in the ocean, but you are an ocean in the drop. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ram. Well, as a scientist, I find it very interesting, but human beings are heterotrophic. We can't photosynthesize, so I have to think about that a bit. Would you time a minute for us, and we'll be back?
Thank you very much. And now for our next speaker, Stanley Glitchner.
Speaking in public doesn't have to be a death sentence. At Toastmasters, we can help you overcome your fears.
Our second speaker tonight is going to be giving us a presentation from the Basic Competent Communicators Manual as well. In fact, all three of our speakers tonight are working on the Organize Your Speech project, which is the second project within the Competent Communicators Manual. Our next speaker that we're going to hear is one of our more seasoned Toastmasters, so we'll be interested to hear how she organizes her speech. The title of her speech is Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, Carol Kormelink. Carol?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our visiting Toastmasters at home. Don't give an order that can be understood. Always give orders that cannot be misunderstood. Thanks to General MacArthur, that was his philosophy. I think that is a very good philosophy because there are so many misunderstandings, as we found out when we were doing Tabletopics, how misunderstandings can occur. One of the misunderstandings I'd like to bring to mind, my sister, when she started driving, and I was in the car with her, and we were in Norwood, and we came to the red light at the crosswalk, and my sister went on through that, and when the policeman pulled her over, she said, well, my sister said we don't have to stop for that, that's for pedestrians. He's going, yes, it's a red light, you must stop, and he chided her a little bit and told her that you must stop at a red light, but he did not give her a ticket. So that misunderstanding, you would think that stop sign, a red light, you stop. I have a problem with stopping at, I have a misunderstanding about crosswalks. I'm just doing a youth leadership project at Hughes High School, which is right around UC, and there's all these crosswalks. I'm not aware that if they're on the other side of the street and they step their foot in there, you are supposed to stop. And so the car next to me when I was going the other day, he stopped. I thought he was going to turn left. I go on, and they hollered at me because I should have been stopping. I am now learning that if you're in the Clifton area and those students think they own the road, you better make sure that you stop and keep an eye on the crosswalk, otherwise you could be in big trouble. The second place that a lot of misunderstanding occurs and has split families is on inheritance. Well, my mom told me that I could have that. No, no, no. She told me that I could have that. Well, you are stealing that from me. No, and it goes on. And then they may not speak. I know people who haven't spoken to each other, family members, for 40 years, 50 years. And that is so sad. And I told my son, I said, Mark, here, up there, I'm going to give you a list of people that I want to leave things to when I go, and just the people's names. And then you can decide what you want to give them. And his girlfriend said, don't you put that burden on him and make him the bad guy. You spell that out in your last will and testament so he doesn't become the bad guy. And one of the things that I'm going to do when I spell that out is who gets what, because not everyone is going to get an equal amount, because some people have spent more time with me, and the ones who have spent more time with me are going to get more than the people who didn't. And there will be an extra little clause in there. If you grumble, complain, or contest the will, you will be left $1. You did what? One of the things I am just learning, and I usually lose the game, my friend and I are playing this game. Every time we talk to each other, we ask a question and answer with a question. If you make a statement, you lose. And she said, I got you to make a statement before you did your question, and you lose. I think it's wonderful because you get clarification on what the person meant. They may say one thing. If you don't really understand what they said, just like Joni's daughter, when she told her to come at this time, she really didn't understand. She needed to be there at that time, or they wouldn't be making the appointment. And that's one of the things that, had she said, what time did I say that you're supposed to be here? And if she had answered, but try that the next time when someone makes a statement, that you ask a question for clarification of what they meant like that. When they said that, what did they really mean? Somebody may have said, well, I'll meet you downtown and I'm going to go this route, and another person say, well, I may be going, I want to go 71, and they were, no, you got to go 75. Both of them are going to get you downtown. Just where are you going to meet down there? Always ask questions to clarify. And to close, I would like to show you the picture that my brother gave to me. So you can see me and the picture. So you're there. I'll let you focus on that, Rick. I know that you believe you understand what you think I said, but I am not sure you realize that what you heard is not what I meant. Clear up any misunderstandings by asking questions, by listening, making sure that you did hear what they said. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol. And we'll be right back.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, hey, hello? Sorry. But seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Doctor says, chicken says...
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken.
Welcome back. Now we're going to hear from our third speaker this evening. She's also doing an Organize Your Speech manual project. She's among our newer Toastmasters, so I would like you to help me welcome Jean Ho. She's going to be speaking to us. Her presentation is entitled Spring into Action. Spring into Action, Jean Ho. Jean?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Was there ever a food day at work that you thought was a little bit disappointing and not what you expected it to be? For example, last year, before the end of the year, the last food day that we had, the turnout was not what I thought it would be. The announcement for the food day was on the week of a holiday for Thanksgiving, and we were only given a couple days notice. And the turnout was only a couple bags of chips and a bowl of pasta salad, some crackers, a tray of assorted cheese by yours truly, and a crock pot of plain cooked ground beef. Well, at the end of the day, it didn't seem like a lot of food had left the table. So, when March came around during the winter meltdown, I decided that I would spring into action and try to plan a successful food day. So there's 4 things that I considered to be important factors to plan a food day. First of all, I think that one of the things you should do is consider when would be a good time to have a food day. Second would be to find out who would be able to offer the support in helping you run the event. Third, to decide what item would be the main course on the menu. And fourth, to decide where would be a good location to have the food laid out. I believe one of the reasons that the food day of the previous year was not successful was because there was only a couple days notice that was given to everyone. And the timing of it, being that it was planned on the week of Thanksgiving, was the fact that a lot of people tend to be out of either they're on their vacation or taking their holidays or time off during that time. And as a result of that, there was not a lot of people that contribute to the food table. So in planning my food day, I decided, first of all, when would be a good time to have this event. And being that it was just a couple weeks from spring, I thought, why not the first day of spring, which happens to fall on a Thursday, and also that's a week that hardly anyone ever takes off from work. So with that date in mind, I went ahead and sent a lively email to have a food day on celebrating spring. The thing about organizing a food day, it really doesn't take that much people to organize it, but it always helps to have someone that can support you to help you run the event. So in planning on who I can have to help me run the event, I decided to look for someone who was familiar with everyone in the department. And the person that I recruited was an analyst who knew everyone, and everyone knew her, so that really helps. And also, it turned out not only was she an effective resource, but she also she was one of the few people that had a corporate card, so she was able to contribute on behalf of management to the cost of the food. The third and important factor that I think to make a successful food day is to think of what the main course would be for the planning of the food day, and that would be that would help to give an idea of what people can bring to the table. So when I made the announcement and I sent it out on the email to everyone in my department, I told them that we were going to have fried chicken. And I offered what I call food for thought to suggest what they could bring, such as potato salad, rolls, vegetable tray. So that way, there would be no guessing of what they might have to bring. And also to think about people that may not have the time to bring anything to the food table. I suggested that they could even offer a contribution to pay for some of the costs to the food. And in the last
and final phase in considering what would make a successful food day would be planning where to have all this food laid out. And again, this is when the person I recruited really helped me out, because she was able to get a table that we were able to lay all the food out, and she also reserved the conference room where we could lay the food out if we had more. Also, it turned out that the conference room that we reserved was more effective place to use for the event, because a lot of people were able to eat and socialize in there. So as it turned out, towards the end of the event, there was quite a few compliments on feedbacks as to having this food day, and apparently it encouraged others to plan to have future events that were similar in that manner. And a matter of fact, there has already been a food day for opening day and Easter, and someone is already planning one for Memorial Day. So I think it's kind of gotten out of control now. But anyway, apparently it's become so successful to the point where someone has even suggested that there should be a food day every month, and they even second the notion. However, I've been aware that some people are actually trying to lose weight for the summer, so I may just spring into action and plan a friendly little competition for weight losers to see who could be the biggest loser in losing the most weight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And we'll be back in a minute.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back. Now we're going to start the evaluation portion of our meeting. This is an essential component of a Toastmasters meeting, and to run our evaluation portion, help me welcome our general evaluator for this evening's program, Rick Barron. Rick?
Thank you, Steve. As the general evaluator, I lead a team of people dedicated to helping people improve themselves. After all, isn't that why we're here? Not just to share our thoughts and ideas, but to improve our ability to communicate those thoughts and ideas, and we do so with the evaluations that we get. We give and receive, and this is a really key part to the Toastmasters meeting. We will have evaluations of our prepared speeches, and we will have someone that will communicate how well we did on time. We did not have an counter or grammarian today, so we got away probably with a few verbal crutches that we may not have otherwise had the luxury of using in a typical Toastmasters meeting. Our first evaluation is done by yours truly. I have the opportunity to evaluate Ram's speech, Nira Hara Samyama. There are times in our lives when we're all introduced to new breakthrough thoughts and ideas, challenges that in most cases few of us grasp. And Ram, that's what you did up here today, is you challenged us to look at alternative ways to not only fuel our bodies, but fuel our souls. It's obvious that you're very comfortable with the topic. You came across as very knowledgeable, confident, using good gestures and body language. The eye contact, I saw a lot of eye contact this way. I'm not sure if it was directed at me because I was your evaluation or your evaluator. I did see eye contact over here. I just don't know that it was as concentrated as I got. couple of things that I think that you could do to improve the impact of the speech. The first has to deal with the beginning and the end. I'm a firm believer in that people remember what you start with and what you end with. Everything else in the middle is kind of, yeah, maybe I'll come up with that. But what I remember is what you start with and what you end with. So my suggestion would be to do just what I did, and that was challenge people when you come up here. I've got a unique theory that can help you shed pounds and inches faster than any potion or formula that's out there. Are you interested? Yes. In today's society, with how everybody struggles with weight and fitness, you automatically grab everybody's attention. Then, at the end, make sure you make good on the promise. The quote was good. I enjoyed the quote, but had a hard time relating that back to the topic. You showed me the mind map that you used to prepare for the speech. Lots of material that you had to try to cram into a 5 to 7 minute speech. You did a good job communicating the topic, the definition, the background, and condensing that down into something I think that we could all take away with us as you challenged us to live on water, light, air, and I guess soil. Maybe that was space. That was the other one. Thank you. Back to my role as general evaluator. The second person on my evaluation team is a guest Toastmaster here today. Joni Buchanan will be evaluating Carol Kormelink's speech. Joni.
Thank you. Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, Miss Carol. Misunderstanding. Wow. I love the title. One word. We can't not understand what you said to us. One word. It stays with us because it's a long word, but it's an easy to understand word. So most of us, I'm hoping most of us got what you wanted to say. Now there's a few things that I thought you did dynamic job on. The quote at the beginning. I think the quote was beautiful. I would have liked to have seen you said it louder and really yelled out who said it. Because I was sitting in the front and it was hard to hear what was being said of who the quote was from. I think during the time when you were talking, you talked about a person that you were going to have your son do the duties that you wanted him to do, and your wording was, be the bad guy. We understand what that means. It was nice, easy to understand words again, but it hit base with somebody and they didn't like what you were saying to them. So I thought, wow, that is something else. Dynamic eye contact. You were looking around. You knew exactly what you wanted to do, what you wanted to say. One area that you had problems with, though, is when you got that picture. You didn't know whether to put it here or here. And if you put it too close to you, we wouldn't have been able to see you at all. I think you need to really be comfortable with the saying. Really yell it out because you are so sincere about what this person said to you to use this. So, hey, we have to understand that you like that saying, and it didn't come across. All you were doing was like you were reading it. It wasn't coming from the heart, and that's what you wanted to do. A few times you stumbled over a few words, but hey, that's part of good in a speech. On the whole, you gave the message, you gave us something to think about, and we enjoyed your speech. Keep up the good work, Carol.
Thank you, Joni. It's always great to have other people from clubs outside of ours come and serve roles within the club, because it's sometimes we just kind of get into a rut. You know, something's familiar and you just kind of get into a rut. So it's always nice to have somebody from outside the club come in and participate. Joni, thank you for joining us today and serving not only as the timer and an evaluator on my team. Thank you very much. Third evaluation. You ready for this? Sure. Yeah? Yeah, we're ready for this, yeah. Jean Ho. Jean is working on her second speech here in the club. And it seems like that seemed to be the theme as we went through today, right? Second speech out of the Competent Communication Manual about organizing your speech. Her topic, Spring into Action, will be evaluated by Steve Ahrenholz.
Thank you, Rick. Yes, I'm back. Fellow Toastmasters, those looking in from home, and Jean, you gave us a speech entitled Spring into Action, Organize Your Speech. It's the second speech in the Competent Communicators Manual. I liked the order that you presented in your speech. I mean, for Organize Your Speech, I found it to be very logical in its progression, and that you had specific elements that you wanted to talk about. One of the things that I would have liked at the beginning is a little bit of explanation as to what a food day is, because at first I thought you were having a food drive, and so I thought, oh, and then I listened a bit longer and it was, oh, this is like some kind of a festivity that you're having in the office, and that you have some kind of a theme, because initially I wasn't sure, you know, are we bringing stuff into work for people, or are we putting together bags? Where I work, we sometimes put together some bags to give to kids over breaks that aren't going to have a lot of food while they don't come to school, because that's where they get their breakfast and their lunch. So that would have been one thing that would have helped me at the beginning to get into your speech. You know, something that would have been along the lines of, do you have these meals where you share them with your coworkers and everybody contributes to them, or something like that, that would have been a clue right off the bat. That was one of the things that I would have liked to have seen, and I think it would make a more effective speech for you. As I mentioned, it was very logical. You engaged the audience with eye contact. Your body language was good. I didn't detect much nervousness, so that was good. Your volume was good as well. One of the things that I think would have helped you at the end of your speech would have been to just quickly review the main points that you had. And as I understood them, they were things such as identifying a theme, picking a good date when people are in the office, having someone that'll help support you, and I have to look and see, because I wasn't sure whether I had 3 points or 4 points. Let's see, where? Yes, a good place to actually have this so that people will, first of all, eat all this stuff, because you don't want to be hauling it home. But I want to congratulate you on completing a good speech, organize your speech. I found it very logically organized, and I look forward to hearing your next speech. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Steve. It's important to not only evaluate one another, but to evaluate the people who would give the evaluations. And that's another part of my role as the general evaluator. I was very pleased to see that the evaluations today focused not only on recognition of what our speakers did well, but provided them some tangible things that they could use to improve their speaking ability. And that's really what this is about. Help pat people on the back for the time, energy, and commitment that they made in coming here and delivering their speech, but then to give them a couple little things that they can do to go improve themselves for the next time. And that's what I heard as the evaluators were up here, recognizing the contributions that people made and giving a suggestion or two about next time you give this speech, or maybe something else you want to think about. So I think the evaluation team did very well today. Thank you for everybody for contributing to the evaluation. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster, Mr. Steve Ahrenholz.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. Well, I hope you've had a really good meeting. And those of you looking in from home, I hope you'll take Rick's invitation up and come and visit us at one of our meetings that we have here at the Anderson Community Center, 7855 Mile Road. We are doing really well tonight as far as our time goes, and I'm going to keep us on that track. So I'm going to turn over our meeting to our presiding officer, our Vice President of Public Relations, Rick Barron. Rick?
Thank you, Steve. Did I deliver on the promise? I should say, did the club deliver on the promise that not only I made, but that Steve made in the beginning of the meeting, that hopefully kept you in the audience, as well as you out there viewing, glued to your channel or to your computer screen, hopefully a little bit bigger than that cell phone, watching it on YouTube. If you're looking for an environment where you can come, be nurtured, and to grow with a group of people who enjoy helping one another, you'll find that here at TV Toastmasters. We are here the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m., the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at the Anderson Community Center, 7855 Mile Road, and I invite you to come grow with us at TV Toastmasters. I'd like to close the May 1st meeting of TV Toastmasters. Thank you all.